The police, running out of leads, decided to visit an old friend of Zoe's, a woman named Alyssa Grant. The two had co-starred in a popular TV series years ago and had remained close ever since. When the officers arrived at Alyssa's beautiful home, they found her visibly distressed. She hesitated, wringing her hands before finally speaking. Her voice was barely a whisper. She said that Zoe had changed recently. She'd become withdrawn, anxious, almost haunted. Alyssa told the police that Zoe confided in her, admitting she believed she was being followed. But it wasn't the paparazzi she was worried about. Zoe was convinced it was something far more sinister. She called them an organization, according to Alyssa. Zoe claimed this mysterious group was after her son, Caleb. She said Caleb had something they desperately needed. When the police pressed for details, asking what it was that they wanted, Alyssa could only shake her head. Zoe never told her. The secret, whatever it was something Zoe kept locked away, even from her closest friend. But Zoe did leave Alyssa with a chilling premonition. She told her, "If I disappear one day, don't let them convince you I'm crazy. The world won't believe me. Everyone will think I'm paranoid." It was as if Zoe knew her disappearance was not a matter of if, but when. She was trying to plant a seed of truth with the one person she thought might listen, hoping that if the worst happened, her story wouldn't be dismissed as the ramblings of a troubled star. The investigators were taken aback. This wasn't a simple missing person case anymore. It was descending into the shadows of a conspiracy. Then, Alyssa shared another detail that sent a shiver down the investigators' spines. In the weeks leading up to her disappearance, Zoe described a series of bizarre and unsettling events at her home. She told Alyssa that every time she returned, she'd find things slightly out of place. A book moved from the table to the shelf, a drawer left slightly ajar, a picture frame tilted by a few degrees. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, as if someone had been inside, meticulously searching for something, and then trying, but failing, to cover their tracks perfectly. The house was always clean, no signs of a forced entry, nothing stolen, just this quiet, persistent violation of her private space, designed to make her question her own sanity. This directly corroborated what her son, Caleb, had been saying. He kept telling his mother he saw things. He'd talk about a man standing in the corner of the room, a dark figure, just watching, but every single time Zoe would rush to turn on the light, the room would be empty. There was never anyone there. Caleb's words, combined with Zoe's own growing fear, painted a terrifying picture. Was it a ghost, an intruder with almost supernatural stealth? Or was it all in their minds? The police, trained to look for logical explanations, began to lean toward a more clinical diagnosis. They started to suspect that the immense pressure of fame, combined with the stress of single motherhood, had pushed Zoe into a state of severe anxiety or even paranoia. But Alyssa was adamant. She slammed her hand on the table, her composure finally breaking. "No," she insisted, her eyes flashing with conviction. "You don't understand. Zoe is not crazy. She is one of the sanest, most grounded people I have ever known." She spoke of Zoe's dedication as a mother, her fierce love for Caleb. "She is a great mother," Alyssa said, her voice thick with emotion. "She would never, ever abandon her child. The only way she would leave him is if she was forced to. If she was protecting him from something so serious, so terrifying, that leaving was the only option she had left." Alyssa's passionate defense forced the police to reconsider. Could Zoe's fears have been real? Was there truly a shadowy organization hunting her and her son? The line between paranoia and a dreadful reality was becoming terrifyingly blurred. The police were now faced with a difficult choice. Do they pursue the theory of a mental breakdown? Or do they dive headfirst into the conspiracy that Zoe seemed to believe? They decided to re-examine the physical evidence from Zoe's home. The crime scene unit had initially done a standard sweep, finding no signs of a struggle or forced entry. But now, armed with Alyssa's testimony, the investigators looked at the reports with fresh eyes. They were looking for the subtle disturbances Zoe described. The problem was, how do you find evidence of something that was intentionally made to look like nothing? It was like searching for a ghost in a photograph. They brought in a specialized forensics team to conduct a microanalysis of the house. They dusted for prints in unusual places, analyzed carpet fibers, and used advanced imaging techniques to look for hidden compartments or surveillance devices. For days, the house was a hive of activity, but the results were frustratingly inconclusive. There were smudged prints that couldn't be identified and trace elements that couldn't be sourced. It was all circumstantial, nothing concrete. The intruders, if they existed, were professionals. They were ghosts, leaving behind nothing but a lingering sense of dread and a mother's desperate warnings. Meanwhile, the media frenzy around Zoe's disappearance reached a fever pitch. Tabloids ran wild with speculation. Headlines screamed Zoe's tragic breakdown, and Hollywood stars' paranoid delusions. They painted a picture of a fragile actress who had lost her grip on reality. Unable to distinguish between her on-screen dramas and her real life, they interviewed so-called experts who diagnosed her from afar, and sources who claimed she'd been acting erratically for months. Alyssa's pleas for the public to believe Zoe were drowned out by the sensationalist noise. Just as Zoe had predicted, the world was choosing to believe she was crazy. The police felt the immense public pressure. Their superiors wanted the case closed, preferably with a simple, clean explanation. The paranoid, runaway mother narrative was the easiest path. It required no further investigation into shadowy organizations or phantom intruders. But a few detectives, particularly the lead investigator, a seasoned cop named Detective Miller, couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Alyssa's conviction and Zoe's chillingly accurate prediction haunted him. He believed that dismissing this as a simple mental health case would not only be a disservice to Zoe, but could also be a fatal mistake. He decided, against the wishes of his superiors, to pursue the one thread that still seemed out of place. Caleb. The boy saw something, or someone, and Miller was determined to find out what it was. He knew that getting information from a traumatized child would be incredibly difficult, but Caleb might be the only one who held the key. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more on this developing story.